Superstar.
Nintendo is one of those companies I've always trusted to make good games, and for years I stood by that statement. Even today, they still make experiences that cannot be matched, no matter how hard other developers try to copy them. A 3D platformer isn't the same if Mario isn't in it. An open-world game like Breath of the Wild can be replicated, but it will never be Breath of the Wild. This goes for most Nintendo games, and it even bleeds into their hardware. The Wii only did so well because they were the only ones brave enough to accept motion controls with open arms. The amount of passion and care that goes into anything Nintendo makes is something everyone should strive for. All that being said, why is it that any decision they make outside of the game's always the worst possible choice they could make? I hate this company. Let's do a hypothetical. You really want to play Rhythm Heaven Fever. You go to eBay, you check what the prices are, and you realize this game costs more than your entire fucking arm. What do? Do you buy the game, which Nintendo makes no money off of this, or do you download Dolphin and play it on your computer? No need to pay somebody $200 for a game that's over 10 years old. Nintendo does not see it that way. Both sides of the transaction is illegal. You are pirating games and you can't do that. They would much rather hit people with legal action, yet they won't release anything post Nintendo 64. GameCube games are in such high demand, and rightfully so. They are so good, and yet Nintendo won't release them. Why won't they? Well, if you can't make a $60 port of a Wii game, then why bother? So what happens when we finally do get these GameCube and Wii games on a modern console? Well, we either get what happened with Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword and get a single game at $60, which was originally $50. That's awesome. Or it's Super Mario 3D All-Stars, a collection of 3 of Mario's best adventures to date, and everyone was excited, rightfully so. Super Mario Sunshine hasn't had a release since the GameCube, and Super Mario Galaxy is one of the greatest 3D platformers. And to make more money off of this game, they decided to make it a limited release.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
For under a year, they've had it where you can buy this game. Ever since March 31st, 2021, this collection has not been available to buy. You can still buy physical copies lurking around eBay, but sooner or later these prices are going to go back up. And what happens when they do? You either have to go back to buying a GameCube and or Wii and buying the game, or you could just use an emulator again, which gives you a much better experience than this collection could ever give you. I played Mario 64 online with a friend in widescreen, and you're telling me you couldn't even do the widescreen part in your $60 collection, Nintendo? I've mentioned it a couple times throughout the video, but the pricing structure they have adopted, and that structure is everything is $60 no matter what, is a little absurd. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, a game that was $50 at launch and then became a Nintendo Select, lowering it down to $20 for the rest of its lifespan on the Wii U, is now $60 on the Switch. And all there is to show for it is the new Funky mode, which adds Funky Kong. It doesn't matter if a game is a port, a 3-hour 2D platformer, or one of the largest open-world games ever made. They are all $60. Now, I'm not one to price a game by its playtime. I would rather play a 3-hour experience than a 20-hour slog. But there's no way you're convincing me New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is the same price as Breath of the Wild. Now, some of these games will have an online functionality, and in 2018, Nintendo decided that it was time to make a subscription service for it for $20 a year. That is significantly lower than the competition, but nobody should have to pay to play any Switch games online. I have never seen a service as bad as this one. Super Mario Maker 2 ran so badly, I doubt I've ever played a single level that did not lag in multiplayer. This subscription also comes with a collection of retro Nintendo games. And now that sounds like a deal. $20 for online and a bunch of retro games? It would be if they weren't all NES and SNES games. Games I will most likely never play. There is also online here, but don't think you'll have a better experience playing anything on this service. Playing Super Mario Bros. 3 was breaking the connection, a game where only one person can play at a time. And nowadays, there are Nintendo 64 games, if you buy the expansion that is $50. It also comes with DLC and Genesis games, but nobody is buying this for either of those. Most want the N64 games. So how is the lineup for $30 extra? There are 21 games on the service right now, with more to come when Nintendo feels like it. At launch, we only had 9 games. It took them nearly 3 months to add a single game to that lineup. Majora's Mask did not get added until 5 months in. Would have been great for it to be in the launch lineup when we had such classics as Winback and Sin and Punishment. This is a post recording. Here recently, Nintendo just announced Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games. And well, it doesn't seem to be much better. There's still barely any content at launch, and I doubt there will be anything for another 4 months. Their hardware isn't much better, not being able to run its own games half the time. And for a while, people thought there was going to be a Switch Pro. Every single day there will be leaks or rumors, and all of them were wrong. Nintendo actually released the Switch OLED that did not have any improvements other than being a slicker, newer Switch with a better screen. It's $50 more, and I don't see any reason to upgrade if you already own a Switch. This seems like a case of just wanting the Switch to be a better experience for people who are just now buying the Switch, rather than a replacement for the original console. Better graphics wasn't on my radar, however. I wanted one thing from a Switch Pro, and that it was an answer to the Joy-Con drift. I have multiple sets of Joy-Cons, and 2 out of the 3 I have owned have had some sort of problem at some point. The Pro Controller is made with such premium material, it feels like it will never break. How the hell do you make the worst and best controller on the market in the same generation? That's about all I have to say, so thanks for watching.